Okay, no more put-ons the rest of the show. My first guest tonight, because of all the controversy that the strike has caused, we thought we would invite one of the owners of professional football to be with us. And she is the first and only active woman franchise holder in NFL history, which is a unique position in a sport that is, I would guess, 99.9% dominated by males. And she's been kind of an easy target for some of the writers and fans alike, but we thought you would like to meet her tonight. Would you welcome Georgia Frontiere? Thank you for coming tonight. Really, I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I don't have much to do these days.
Yeah, you're just in between jobs, huh?
Can I have this little stool?
You want a little footstool
My
there?
feet won't be
You certainly may. There you are. Coming out right now.
See, I watch your show. I know you two got.
You know, I thought of something when you walked around, and when I was doing the introduction about if What's My Line had still been on, you would have been a great guest at that time before you received all the publicity, because they would have never have guessed you're the owner of a professional football team.
That's probably right. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed it myself.
How did it seem when all of a sudden you were thrust in that position when Carol passed away, and there you were with the Rams football team, and it really kind of befell to you to pull it together? What was your first reaction? And you said, "Here I am with this organization."
Thank God I had something to do. That's my first reaction.
Right.
Yeah, I was really busy.
Yeah. Had you been active at all in the management or discussions about the football franchise before that, to any great extent?
Only to the extent of why are you always on the phone? Why are you always doing these things? You know, why are you always worrying about the football players? You know, instead of me.
As I said in the introduction, you have gotten a few barbs from the press. They referred to you as Madam Jaws, I think was one of the things. You were referred to as Bad Mama, the Godmother. I'm just quoting the press now. And those of us in the public eye get those kind of things from the press.
They never say anything bad about you.
Oh yes. You're reading the wrong publications. How does it make you feel? Do you resent it?
I don't read it. In the beginning, I did a little bit, and then I don't. A lot of people call up and say, "Guess what they wrote today?" And then, I immediately change the subject.
Right.
As far as the names, the only one I've ever heard is Boss Mama that Doug France named me.
Right.
Hi, Doug.
But you don't hold a grudge against any of the press or anything like that.
No, they've got to do their job. They've got to have something to write, I guess.
Yeah. How long is this strike going to go on? Do you have any idea? Now, I'm not going to take either pro or con here about which position is the more tenable position, the players or the owners, because I don't know all the details of it. But what's the owner's position about what the guys want? Basically, they wanted certain things, and the owners say, "No, you
Well,
can't."
I can only speak for myself. I know what the owners want. Basically, I want to have the strike end so that we can play football. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think Gene Upshaw, the players' representative, has said, and I'm not one to argue with him, we can last one day longer than the owners. Intimating, I assume, that he can hold out longer than the owners can hold out.
Well, maybe he can. I don't know. He's a pretty big fellow.
Isn't this a big financial loss for both all the players and the owners and the networks and the stadiums around the country and all of those jobs that they go with pro football?
An awful lot of jobs, Johnny, and there's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
Everybody loses. It's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Unless you can get together. I like to think that right now that somebody's speaking on my behalf so that we can get started with the negotiations and do it a little sooner.
Yeah. You said once that, if I'm paraphrasing, forgive me if I paraphrase this wrongly, that you're not as simple as some people think you are. Was that a fair?
Pretty simple.
No.
No. I think I probably said, I like to think I'm complex. I think that's what I said.
Yeah.
I think we're all a little bit complex. There are probably a lot of dimensions that you have that we never see.
That's true. I have them in a locker. I rent a locker at the Port Authority bus terminal, and I put them in there. We're going to come back. I got some more questions for you. Stay where you are. About the football strike, and what is it like in a predominantly male-dominated sport, which pro football is? Have you had a certain amount of opposition, or have you been treated Pretty fairly.
I think
Be
I've been
honest.
treated pretty fairly because I think if I were the average football fan,
Right.
which I am, I think that I would wonder about a woman running a football team. But you've got to remember, Johnny, it's still a business.
Yeah.
I don't coach, although I might start.
Don't you ever have now? If I owned a professional football team, and
No, I didn't mean that. Oh,
and I
don't
was-
take it that way.
No, come on, I'm
I
serious.
didn't mean it that way.
If I owned a football team and I was watching them play, and I'd seen some of the things that happened, I think I'd be on the phone calling down to the coach saying, "Why
You
don't you
think
put in?"
it's easy?
Well, did you ever think of doing it?
You think it's easy to sit there and not say anything?
Aren't you allowed to? You're the owner.
I'm allowed to, but then if I put in the wrong play, I'm in trouble. I'd rather have the coach get the blame.
But wouldn't it be fun to call Malavasi and say,
Yeah,
"Ray,
it'd be
run
a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start working on some plays now that I got some free
17
time.
left, so forth and so on."
17
How
left,
about
yeah.
selecting the players? What do you have to say about that now? You get the draft. The draft comes up
The
every
only
year.
thing that I've ever said anything about was, and I did say something after Carol died. I wanted to keep Billy Simpson because
Right.
one of the last things he said the night before was, "I want to keep Billy Simpson."
Right.
And I see he's still playing,
Right.
and quite well. Obviously, I did have something to do with getting Burt Jones because we'd lost Ferragamo to Canada.
Right.
And
But you got him back now too. So you got both of them, right?
got him back, and what good does it do me?
Now, if a woman was in, if a woman was, I don't know, George. What good does it do you? Have you ever been sexually harassed on the job? I mean, now see, if a man had a lot of, or a woman was another different situation,
You mean because I'm a female?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to
That's
get out
the
of this one
idea.
that easy. I can see. Number one, I've never been in the locker room.
What do you think about?
Unless they were dressed.
What do you think about women reporters demanding that they be allowed into the locker room after the game? When the players,
Well, I
the
guess
women
the
reporters
one
say
thing that
discrimination.
The one thing I thought of, I don't think it's discrimination. A lot of the players' wives were upset about it because
Yeah.
they didn't want someone viewing their husbands and that.
Yeah.
I
I think it
I
would
have
be
to
okay.
wonder-
I have nothing against that. If the reporters would come in naked also.
Have you been?
You know?
Have you ever been in the locker room, Johnny?
For professional
It's
football?
very intimidating.
Yeah, those guys are huge.
The one,
Come on, you're a
I
tacky
don't know
audience. You
myself.
come on now. They are intimidating. I mean,
well, no, it is. Let me just say this: I think a woman would have a hard time asking any questions.
while they're in that state of,
I
Oh,
think she'd find it hard to look them in the eye.
that's what I had in mind. Now, I understand that the Rams can't even have no place to practice now.
Yes,
want
they
to-
have. I
do they?
understand they're practicing at a high school on Brookhurst.
Ah.
I keep track of my children. Not
Yeah.
children, they're big little boys. They're not children by all means.
Yes, that's true. So they're practicing at a high school.
Yes, they are.
All of them now? Or
I understand we had 41 yesterday.
yeah. Do you go out to the practices?
No, I'm not allowed to.
Really?
No.
They don't want you to practice? We are the owner.
I'm sure they'd want me there. Unfortunately, a week ago Monday, I guess it was, Mr. Upshaw,
Yeah.
our friend,
The players' representative, in case you don't know who Gene Upshaw is.
said that there would be no practices and no workouts.
Right.
So that was something we had to abide by.
Yeah.
So we're not going to practice, we're not going to work out.
Well, anyway, we all hope this works out because the fans in the long run, along with the owners and the players, all lose along the way, don't they?
Absolutely.
And inevitably, it's going to end sometime.
Johnny, I'm going to tell you, I hate to date myself, but I was very young when I started going to football games.
Right.
But for the last 24 years, there is not a week that's gone by that I haven't been in a football game.
Is that right?
Not 1 week.
Well, I hope.
With the exception of when I had my children or if I was terribly ill, but I...
Right, we could do that during
24 years.
halftime. Get right back to the game. Hey, I thank you for coming tonight. It was nice of you
Johnny,
to
I
come
have
on.
a present for you.
You brought me a present? I
What do you
like
think?
guess who brings gifts.
Well, I looked in my...
be
I looked
honest.
in my locker, and they cleaned out my locker except for this.
I don't understand football book of how to tackle the game painlessly. Right?
Right. And so, for you.
What is this? Well, that's where the guys wear in the locker room. It's kind of one of
I
those.
thought maybe if you wanted to put it on, Johnny.
Oh, yes. Hey, that's very sweet
We're
of
not holding the tryouts, buddy.
you. No.
We just have, we're not like.
And no snapping towels in the locker room, remember
I
that?
gotta tell you one thing, that's yours to keep.
Thank
But
you.
I don't think anybody'd have any objection to trying out anybody over 50.
Yeah.
So anybody that's over 50 is
Sure.
welcome to come and try out.
Well, certainly, when we reach that age, I'll show up. Hey, thanks for coming. Good luck. Get him back in the game.